Hello and greetings from Karadeniz Technical University, Department of Architecture. This is Selin, and this is the second session of the second day of LivenArch VIII Congress. The main titles of this session are Urban, City, Landscape, and Rural. And in this session, we are going to listen for studies. Before we start, I want to remind all the attendees that please do not hesitate to ask questions, and you can use Q&A bar, which you can see below your screens. And now we can continue with the first presentation titled Degeneration in Traditional Urban Textures, the example of Konya Türbe Önü Neighborhood by Arife, Deniz, OKTAC, BEYCAN, and Hatice, Ulku, UNAL. To present their paper, Deniz Hocam and Hatice Hocam from Konya Technical University is here with us. Welcome you again. And we can play the presentation now.
Thank you.
The stage is yours. Carry on with the second presentation. And the effect of regenerated traditional houses with different functions in neighborhood culture and sustainability. Trabzon, Akcaabat, Ortamahalle case will be presented by Ayca, ARAZ USTAOMEROGLU from Karadeniz Technical University. Now we can listen to you, Ayca.
Houses with different function on neighborhood culture and sustainability. Trabzon, Akcaabat, Ortamahalle case. In today's world, there is a constant change and renewal in technological, economic, social, and cultural terms in order to meet the needs and demands of age, differentiation and observed in the living environments over time. This change can be on a scale in neighborhood or in neighborhood, streets, or in individual building. Neighborhood culture, detached and usually gardened house where large families live together. Neighborhood relation, open and semi-open space using common solidarity and cooperation are the values that constitute the traditional lifestyle. However, due to change in old way of life, the transformation of large families into nuclear families, the unwillingness of nuclear families to live in old houses in need of maintenance and often large in square meters, or because these houses are far from their work or school, etc., traditional houses have been abandoned. Those that are not registered have mostly been worn out and demolished. Those that were registered and restored either continued to be used by their former occupants or continued their lifespan by undergoing functional change. It is predicted that this situation may bring positive economic benefits to the neighborhood, but it will create negative regarding social and cultural sustainability. In this paper, Ortamahalle, a physically preserved old neighborhood of Trabzon, will be examined in this context. In the neighborhood, which is protected area, some houses that have been physically revitalized through restoration still maintain their residential function, while others have been given different functions. Thus, social and cultural life in the old neighborhood, which has gained a mixed function, will be questioned, and the effect of functional change of sustainability will be examined. The study aims to measure the adaptation of life to this new situation in Akcaabat Ortamahalle, which has been restored and revitalized by being registered in order to prevent physical extinction. The study was conducted in two stages, field study. Firstly, the former users of neighborhood were interviewed and way of life, social and cultural characteristic and neighborhood relation were learned. In the second stage, surveys interviews were conducted with the users of the streets that underwent functional difference in neighborhood and their satisfaction with the changing structure was questioned. This situation was analyzed and evaluated the context of social and cultural sustainability. It's the study area, the Akcaabat Ortamahalle, of Ortamahalle protected area. When the cafe and restaurants accommodation structure opened as a result of functional change, attracted the local and foreign tourists in the neighborhood. The residents of the neighborhood opened some parts of their houses, such as garage, storerooms, woodsheds, etc., for sale by placing stalls. They were started to sell some handicrafts of local products. This situation gradually become widespread, and one street was completely transformed into a street with sales stalls. The neighborhood, which was revitalized after the restoration and commercial functions were added, is visited by many local and foreign tourists and intensively by residents, wedding photographs taken, and some social and cultural activities organized. The increase in visitors and tourists into the neighborhood has brought economic benefits. Especially on Third Street, where there are many cafes and restaurants, many houses have opened their gardens, woodsheds, garage, etc., established a relationship with the street, are offered various products for sale at the stalls. The development of technology and inclusion of computers, televisions, etc. in life has led to abandonment of some of the activities that used to be done in neighborhood. For example, children games on the street have ended. In addition, the rituals such as playing music, singing, etc. that used to be practiced in the past are no longer practiced. Field work was conducted through observation and interviews and surveys. The surveys were conducted with 20 people selected by random sampling by knocking on the residence door or houses in neighborhood or on the street are asking for permission. The surveys were converted into graphical representation and satisfaction of the users was indicated. 20 people participated in the field survey. The respondents stated that they were 100% satisfied living in the neighborhood. 65% of the 20 users who participated in the survey said the neighborhoodly relation in neighborhood were very strong. 15% said they were weak, and 20% chose the other options. In response to the question as to whether the newly opened commercial enterprises such as cafes and restaurants in the neighborhood affect on the neighborhood life, 55% of the participants stated that they do, 25% stated they don't, and 20% stated that they affect it a little. When the answers of the open-ended question asked to get explanation to the answers given by the users are evaluated, the number of people who say that they strong neighborhood relations, solidarity that have existed in neighborhoods since the past can be maintained is much higher than those who say that they no longer exist. There is social and cultural sustainability. The cultural value that is said to have disappeared is children playing on the street. In addition, it was stated that another tradition that used to be practiced in past but is no longer practiced today is gathering in the houses to play music instruments such as oud, kanun, and have conversations. And surveys users view on the neighborhood life. Positive comments are shown the blue, negative comments are shown the orange. Although conversation on the wall and front of the door continue in the neighborhood, factors such as decreased conversation and the necessity to go out on the streets more regularly were also mentioned. In the past, it was possible to go out on clothes, but now, since there is a strong possibility of encourage people other than neighborhood residents on the street, more attention is paid to clothing. However, almost all users stated that neighborhood relation and solidarity continue to be strong, and that everyone participates in events such as fundraisers and weddings. Contrary to what was predicted at the beginning of the study, it was reported the arrival of foreigners with the opening of cafes and restaurants in the neighborhood had enlivened in the neighborhood. That the neighborhood is more frequently maintained and revitalized with restoration because the neighborhood attracts tourists and that this situation is pleasing. Most neighborhood users are satisfied with the physical repair and functional change. As a result, the revitalization activities and functional change, economic return, social mobility, and physical restoration of the old structure of the neighborhood were positively received by majority of the users. The majority of negative evaluation are the noise, congestions, are parking problems that occur when vehicles enter the street, which are narrow due to the lack of the vehicles in the years when they were built, and sloping due to their topographical structure, disrupt the quiet structure of the neighborhood, and that visitors of employees throw garbage on the street or security problems may occur. The economy of the neighborhood has shifted different direction. While in the past, tobacco, olive, etc. were produced in the gardens, today, tourism and trade are more prominent in the economy. Despite some cultural differentiation in neighborhood culture is still very strong. All of the people interviewed in the neighborhood are satisfied with living in this neighborhood, and the custom, tradition, solidarity continue strongly. It was observed that the way of life and the structure of residence in the neighborhood differed slightly. However, this situation did not create significant differentiation in social and cultural structure of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you for the great presentation and study. I think it's good research that shows the conflicts between the local people and the new function of the neighborhood. And also it's very important to see their reactions to the questions of yours and the reactions to the transformation of that area. So thank you again. Also we'll discuss about it later in Q&A section. Also, and now this is the session's fourth presentation, actually third presentation, investigation of current urban design approach in the context of urban regeneration and urban health by Ece VAROL from Karadeniz Technical University. So, Ayca, we can move on.
I'm Ece VAROL. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to attend the Congress. Title of the paper that I will present within the scope of the Congress is Investigation of Current Urban Design Approaches in the Context of Urban Regeneration and Urban Health. Cities are places where societies and individuals socialize by being together, where people from different ethnic classes and different cultural structures come together. Urban design and a planning process reveals different trends or approaches in order to find solutions to the problems that arise due to the development of cities. Different approaches have been popular in the historical process in order to find a solution to an existing urban problem, and some still continue to be effective. Within the scope of this study, the contribution of approaches such as sustainable city, health city, eco-city, smart city, in terms of supporting urban health and examined through their own evaluation parameters. In this respect, this study, which is a complete study, is expected to contribute to the field of architecture and urbanism with readings made on current approaches. Current urban design approaches include new urbanism, smart growth, sustainable cities, ecological cities, green cities, low carbon cities, livable cities, slow cities, urban renaissance, and digital cities. Within the scope of the study, a complete study has been created based on selected approaches within the discipline of urbanism, especially current approaches in urban health and urban design. In particular, the principles that current approaches emphasize a lot and their relationship with urban health and urban renewal are examined. The health approach is gaining prominence in both developing and developing countries in addressing many urban health challenges associated with urbanization and globalization. The health of cities requires the completion of living environment and the physical and psychological well-being of the individual living in them. This concept, which emerged with the health project, includes many different disciplines and has different meanings for each country, city, and culture. Creating healthy living environment is very important for cities. Improving the health conditions in the place where people living in cities live, socialize, and work increases both physical and psychological health. With the increase in unhealthy conditions in cities, local governments are expected to develop policies that support public health so that urban life can progress in a healthier way. Some implementation decisions can be made in cities as urban renewal or urban transformation. A health city can be defined according to different perspectives and fields of study, such as renewing important values in the city and creating new space, creating new good physical space in the city's transportation, housing areas, green areas, creating and improving social integration, providing an environment for the development of society, providing high level of accessibility to health service, providing the opportunity to live, protecting the family, meeting with friends, meeting the need for food and drink, and realizing the actions of living in a safe and free way. Before the concept of sustainable architecture, the concept of solar architecture and green architecture also draw attention to the importance of solar energy and proposed designs that reduce the consumption of natural resources. Sustainable city describes a place where socio-economic interests are balanced with environmental concerns in order to ensure the continuity of development. Eco-cities are a more balanced work model with a system that protects the balance of production and consumption with the increasing work population, minimizes the environmental pollution, and aims for sustainability. The concept of smart settlement, which includes smart city initiation and is one of the new planning approaches, consists of the idea of restructuring cities to be highly efficient for nature and people. When the current urban design approaches selected with the scope of the study are examined, it is seen that the design principles generally emphasized are as follows. The relationship between the city and nature is inseparable whole, and natural environments should be maintained with urban space, promoting the importance of healthy living environments and their contribution to people's physical and psychological health. The ideal of creating equal and fair living environments for all. The ecological balance in cities can be reorganized to the relationship between natural and artificial environments. Implementation of current technological development in urban design and saving time with smart solutions. Particular emphasis is placed on the importance of ensuring economic, social, and physical sustainability in cities. It can be referred at the common goals of the new approach examined in urban design are to improve the quality of life in cities and to create more sustainable living environments. While the ecological city emphasizes the relationship between nature and the city, the sustainable city draws attention to urban development in different areas such as economic, social, and physical sustainability. Similarly, the design approach refers to as the smart city or smart growth approach aims to create healthy living environments while emphasizing the existence of today's technological possibilities. I would like to share the results of this study in my last slide. The ideas in all of the current design approach examined within the scope of the review study can be summarized as creating designs that use technological data while paying attention to the integration of nature and human while trying to create sustainable and healthy living environments. It is quite clear that designing urban space with future users in mind is a sustainable approach, considering the traces left by the interventions to urban space in cities. The importance of knowing the theoretical background of urban design practices is understood. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you, Ece Hocam, for this great presentation. And while I'm listening your presentation, I feel like when the Industrial Revolution happened, the cities had become a problem. And now in 2023, we are still arguing about the same kind of issues. Not that bad for sure, but I still feel like we should have find a solution already. So thank you again for your presentation. And so I want to go back again to the first presentation. And Ulku Hocam, we had your
I'm trying again.
But cannot download it because you didn't give the necessary permission, but it's not a problem. Can you share it again with your microphone on? So we can hear it through your speaker. So, okay. Don't close your microphone.
Sorry.
We cannot hear it still.
I will hear the voice.
Is
Sorry.
your computer's voice is enough to hear you? First, volume up your speakers, and so we can hear it through your speakers. We still cannot hear it.
Sorry, I can present live.
Okay. Sure.
I will start again. Our topic is degeneration in traditional urban textures, the example of Konya Türbe Önü. We can summarize the conceptual background of this study with these topics. The Urban Identity and Memory Analysis survey of Mevlana Museum area was administered to participants. You can see the maps of area. And location of Türbe Önü. During the period of Anatolian Seljuks, Konya became an attractive center and came to be known as City of Mevlana. And during the Ottoman era, the Mevlana tomb and its surroundings became one of the most prestigious residential areas. Over time, the inability to preserve these textures resulted in the loss of the historical identity of Türbe Önü. New modern residential complexes and tourist structures have taken the place of the historical fabric. An approach emerged where monumental public structures were preserved or built individually, and a new definition of Türbe Önü has been created. We will examine changes in the area via the before and after photos of Türbe Önü. This is Mevlana Square before and after photos. Independence War Matrix Monument, Hilton Garden in Panorama Konya Museum, and İrfan Civilization Research and Culture Center. You can see on the right of screen Bazar, Altın Bazar, and Mevlana Bazar. Mevlana Cultural Center, Karatay Town Hall, and Melike Hatun Bazar. Features of participants. The frequency of use, accessing to area, using purposes of area. Most descriptive place or elements in this area. Structures that can be considered as landmarks. Central intersection and gathering points. Most recognizable, crowded, most frequently used streets. The boundary elements. Changes made in the area from the 1950s to the present were evaluated by participants. Removal of Kıyıklı Kahve, widening of road between Mevlana Museum and Üçler Cemetery, and the narrowing of Üçler Cemetery, and the construction of the public library. The construction of Melike Hatun Bazar in the former Women's Bazaar area, Karatay Town Hall, and the removal of Amele Bazar. The removal of Aslanlı Kışla and the construction of Mevlana Cultural Center, the construction of Independence War Matrix Monument. The demolition of the public library and the construction of Hilton Garden Inn. The renovation of Mevlana Square and the road expansion works, the restoration works of Bedestan and construction of Adliye Alaaddin tramline. The cleaning of the traditional housing texture and the construction of new houses and gated housing communities. the renovation of Konya Culture and Tourism Pictorial Building. Observed change in the traditional housing fabric or in civil architecture examples, housing structure in the area during the removal of traditional housing fabric and the construction of new housing and gated communities. It was found that residents were uncomfortable with the aging of places and buildings and the emergence of certain functional needs, but also longed for the lost elements of memory. It emphasizes that such changes should not only represent demolition, but should be carried out with respect for historical, natural, and cultural values. These approaches should encompass not only a profit-oriented perspective, but also the aim of preserving the character and identity of the city. Thanks for listening, and sorry for the problems of sound.
Okay, I think it's a good solution for the problem. So thank you again for the presentation and telling it again for us once more. And I think about your presentation, the photographs that shows the before and after photographs that shows how the city was transformed and how the amount of trees were changed, were very dramatic. And also, I think it's a very good research paper to discuss about social and public memory. So thank you again for your valuable research, and also can you stop sharing the screen so we can see each other? Okay, yes, that's better now. And so just let me check if we have some questions here. No open questions I can see. Dear attendees, if you have some questions, please do not hesitate to ask. And so, of course, I have some questions about your presentations. My first question is to the first paper that in your research, you mentioned about the city's pattern has changed with the new projects. So what do you think about the confliction that the cities are growing and changing and new needs arises? And also there is an identity which we need to protect also. In this case, why the city becomes a monster to destroy all its own identity? What do you think about it? So my question was to Ulku Hocam. To first presentation, I meant you. I can ask you again if you want about your presentation. I thought that you mentioned about the pattern of the city has changed with the new projects in Konya. So what do you think about the confliction about, the cities are changing, growing, and new needs arises, and the population arises, and also there's an identity which we have to protect. And in this case, why the city becomes a monster to destroy all its own identity? What do you think about it? Your microphone is closed.
The changes Sorry, I don't understand your question properly, but I think the demolishing in urban fabric should be carried out with respect for historical, natural, and cultural values, and not only a profit-oriented perspective, but also the aim of preserving the character and identity of our cities.
Mhm. So, you know, while the city is growing, it becomes like destroy everything, especially in these days. In the past, we do not have such problems, you know. But in today's world, there is a problem arises, like the cities changing to some monsters that destroys its own history, its own identity. So if you have any more comments, I would like to hear. If you don't, I can ask. I have some more questions.
Yes,
So,
that's it.
okay, thank you very much for your contribution. And Ayca hocam, to the second paper, I have a question for you too. When I visit Ortamahalle, I feel like it's some kind of hygienic place. It's like a very clean place, and it feels like protected, but not integrated enough with the daily life, which you mentioned it in your paper too. Do you think like me? Do you feel the same things like me? If yes, why do you think it feels like that? Why Ortamahalle feels so hygienic, so clean?
Some users in Ortamahalle, I ask some of the negatives perspective of the some functional changes in Ortamahalle. Some of the users said me a little garbage or another throws the street for visitors in Ortamahalle. Some of the functional changes, the cafes and restaurants added the houses, gardens, all of the foreign tourists and visitors in Ortamahalle is negative affect the hygienic protection in the mahalle. Some of them put at the some garbage on the street. They said me.
Okay, thank you, Ayca hocam, for your answer. Actually, we have about 2 minutes, but I want to ask one last question to Ece hocam, so we can end the session after that. You mentioned that some different approaches like sustainable, eco, and smart cities. And what do you think, which kind of approach does Trabzon need to be a better city, and why do you think like that?
Okay. First of all, thank you for your question. I want to answer like this. At the core of the urban design approaches is the rehabilitations of cities. Looking at the case of the city of Trabzon, the population of the city is increasing rapidly day by day. The rapid increase in population creates a problem of housing under equal condition, unfortunately. Trabzon should protect its natural beauties, I think. Therefore, sustainable urban development is very important. However, with technological developments, for example, the smart data systems must adapt to the city. In this case, it can be said that sustainable urban development should be considered as a higher title of Trabzon, I think. That's all I have to say. Thank you again for your question.
Okay, thank you, Ece Hocam, for your contribution. And on behalf of LivenArch VIII Congress team, I all want you to thank about your valuable researches and your presentations. I'm very happy to meet you and hope to see you in person 2 years later on LivenArch IX Congress. So I want to end the session now, if you don't have something more to say. So thank you again. See you
Thank you
later.
so much all together.
Thank you for the organization.